All right, y'all, welcome to the show. It's going to be a fun one. So right off the bat here, I have some new Joe Biden ads against Trump. And look, I am a very critical, skeptical guy when it comes to evaluating political strategy. But I got to be honest with you, these are some good ads, man. They are some good ads. So we're going to talk about that. We also have some new insane Trump rally moments where he takes his instinct to be tough on crime and he ramps it up 1,000-fold to some absolutely insane dictatorial authoritarian positions. Kind of unsurprising to call Trump an authoritarian, but the details of this are mind-boggling. Then also later on, we'll get to Trump thinking he can win California, or that he actually did win California in 2020. What do you even say about that? And we have a Ron DeSantis stan basically gets into a shouting match with Carrie Lake, which I'm not going to lie, I find incredibly enjoyable. And then also we have greasy Gavin Newsom. I'm going to give you all the ups and downs and sideways and left and right of his decision-making recently. Let's just say he's been doing a hell of a lot of contradictory things. He's done some good things. He's done some bad things. He's done some really great things, and he's done some horrible things. So it's a little bit of everything for everybody. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it here. And by the way, please hook a brother up with a subscription. Costs you nothing. Helps us out tremendously in the algorithm. And it strokes my ego, which, of course, is the most important thing. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. We have some new Biden ads against Trump, and he's really leaning into a specific issue here. The issue being factory jobs and wages. And not going to lie, y'all, I think he's landing some body blows. Let's watch.
If I'm elected, you won't lose one plant. You'll have plants coming into this country. You're going to have jobs again. You won't lose one plant. I promise you that.
Operations at GM's Warren transmission plant end today.
All the people that are left inside know this is their last shift here.
Those jobs have left Ohio. They're all coming back. They're all coming back.
A large American factory stopped production today after more than half a century. 1,600 workers at the General Motors plant in Lordstown, Ohio, are affected by this.
It's hard to even fathom that I'm not going to be coming back tomorrow.
No more empty factories that sit there and rot like all over Pennsylvania, all over New York State, all over Maryland.
The GM Baltimore operations plant in White Marsh is preparing to cease production.
That's a really good ad. That's a really good ad. It's hammering him on being a fraud. And it's not all that surprising for a guy who was just found liable of fraud in a court case in New York. But look, man, this is where you hit him. Hit him where he's weak. Hit him where he materially failed the American people. And we've given this example before, but it's very instructive. Early on in Trump's time in office, he made a big deal about saving the Carrier factory. You remember this? And he did like a rally there and talked about how I'm going to keep all your jobs here and act like they did it. And it was a celebration. And then, guys, within a year or two, all of those jobs were outsourced anyway. So understand what happened, because he screwed us in two ways. One way is he gave them massive taxpayer subsidies. He gave Carrier taxpayer subsidies. So they shook us down in terms of taking the subsidies, and then they outsourced the jobs anyway. It literally would have been better if he did nothing. Because if he did nothing, they would have outsourced the jobs and not also taken the subsidies. So it was all a fraud. It was all a con. And I feel embarrassed that at the time, I fell for it too. And then I remember covering it within a year or two, all these jobs being outsourced. And it reminded me, look, fake populism is just that. It's fake. And this is a guy who ran as, I'm the anti-outsourcing guy. And under his administration, there was net outsourcing of 200,000 jobs, 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And his tax bill incentivized further outsourcing. So there's no other way to say it. He was a failure. He was a failure on this. Now, at the same time, under the Biden administration, we're onshoring 800,000 manufacturing jobs. And a lot of that is because of the infrastructure bill and the IRA. These aren't perfect laws. There are issues with them. But net increase of 800,000 manufacturing jobs, that's huge. And that's also why it's a lot more complicated than a lot of people are leading on when they're acting like, there's no way Biden can win. Look, he could be dead. He could be a dusty-ass, decrepit, rotting carcass. And if those things are delivered on completely, he still might win. Okay. So now I got one more for you. This one came out a little bit earlier. I think this was Trump, the first Biden ad against Trump. But it's a similar argument. Let's watch.
He says he stands with auto workers, but as president, Donald Trump passed tax breaks for his rich friends while automakers shuttered their plants and Michigan lost manufacturing jobs. Joe Biden said he'd stand up for workers, and he's delivering, passing laws that are increasing wages and creating good-paying jobs. Manufacturing is coming back to Michigan because Joe Biden doesn't just talk, he delivers.
There you go. And that's a quick one, a 27-second ad. And he hit all the points. I think the first ad that I showed you was a little better. This one's okay, but still, I mean, he's hitting them where it hurts. And not to mention, when you mix the bringing back 800,000 manufacturing jobs with the NLRB raising overtime pay for millions of workers, with the new NLRB rule that automatically recognizes unions if a boss tries to union bust, these are the most pro-labor developments that have happened in our lifetimes, guys. So this is serious. Then also, the project labor agreements that Biden signed, which basically makes it so that, jobs with a federal contract, they have to meet the wages that unions in blue states have negotiated. So it's a massive pay increase for like 200,000 manufacturing jobs. Look, you got to keep it real. This stuff is good. This stuff is good. And to hammer Trump on this, to hammer him on his weaknesses like this, is definitely a good strategy. Of course, in typical Democrat fashion, though, I don't think they go far enough. I think you also should lean into and bring up the 91 criminal charges, the fact he was just found liable of fraud. Make it seem like this guy is so outside of the realm of that which is respectable that he can never get near power again. I mean, every ad I had out there, I would quote Trump where he says suspend the Constitution, because that is just so egregious and so beyond the pale and so over the line. And remind people he tried to steal the damn election. He tried to do a coup. He tried to overturn the results of a Democratic election. So ironically, as he screams and moans and whines and bitches the Democrats are stealing the election, he was trying to steal the election. So anyway, look, this is the path, man. This is the path. This is the way to go. And if he keeps hammering on stuff like this, it's going to work. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.